told you we'd be back after just a couple of days, and here we are. Welcome back to Rabona TV's run-through of the Euro 2024 groups. Just to give you a quick run-through of each team, a sample platter, if you will, not a full-course meal, just enough to let you know a little something about everyone. And then as we go through the tournament together with our daily uploads and watch-alongs, we'll get more in-depth with it. And don't forget, I will predict the entire tournament in my next video, coming out next Tuesday, so you won't want to miss out on that 100% correct prediction. By the way, this video is being filmed before the Champions League final and before final squad submissions and early June friendlies. So just something to keep in mind. So in this video, we have groups A through C. And like I said in the previous video, one last thing here, guys, not an ad, but I'm going to be using the app FC Quiz throughout the Euro 2024 as they have daily quizzes on everything. So if you want to join the Rabona TV community on FC Quiz, I welcome you to do so. It's free after all. Just use the link in the description to download FC Quiz and join our club. Or if it's already downloaded already, just search Rabona TV and boom, join us and see if you're a better quiz master than me, which you probably are because I have brainworms. Group A, of course, has your hosts, Germany, alongside Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. I think it's safe to say that nobody in this group really has easy games, do they? Does anyone in this tournament have easy games? A few teams, not many. Let's start with the hosts who are hard to get a read on at the moment, following the failure of the Hansi Flick era, which kind of felt like a continuation of the Yogi Löw era, at least when it came to results. Germany turned to Julian Nagelsmann, a young guy, a young fella, a guy who probably didn't think that he would be managing the German national team at this point in his young career. Did you know he's young? But here he is, and he will be with the national team until the end of the 2026 World Cup now. In his 6 friendlies with the national team, he has won 3 over France, the Netherlands, and the USA, and has lost to Turkey and Austria, and drew with Mexico. The most recent matches saw them beat France and the Netherlands, however, so trending in the right direction. In one of those matches, he actually played Havertz as a wing back, not one of the recent ones, way back he did. But in the most recent matches, Havertz is back to striker and looks great there. It remains to be seen if Füllkrug or Undav, hot off of a great season with Stuttgart, can wrestle that spot from him. Their attack is looking incredible with Musiala, Sané, Wirtz. The midfield is strong with Kroos in his swan song. The backline with Rudiger and Tah at the middle. Ugh, this is a strong team, and they look like they could go deep with the country at their backs as well. Do you need further convincing? Well, to be fair, considering their recent competitive record, maybe you did need some convincing. Welcome to Scotlandia. Welcome to your second consecutive Euros, fellas. It's great to have you around as Steve Clarke is doing a fantastic job with the Scottish national team. And I wouldn't put it past him to get Scotland's first win at this tournament since Euro 1996. I wouldn't put it past the guy. Scotland qualified just 4 points behind Spain as Norway made a mess of their qualification campaign as per usual. What's up with those guys? Hey, so much talent. But yes, speaking of talent, Scotland have a nice mixture of experience as well as some talented young fellas coming through, and they actually defeated Spain 2-0 in Scotland during qualifying. It's a shame that Lewis Ferguson of Bologna is out with a knee injury, a big loss there, but there's other players in that position such as Billy Gilmore that will do well in the middle of the pitch. That's what I mean by that position. I don't love the form that Scotland are carrying at the moment. Losing 4-0 to the Netherlands isn't a surprise, really, but that loss at home to Northern Ireland in March, again, a friendly, yes, but you won't want that to become a habit when you are consistently facing teams of the caliber of this group. The leaders in the team, such as Scott McTominay, don't laugh. He's a good player. McGinn, Robertson, and all will need to lift these guys if they are to make it out of this group. And Scott McTominay, just use him as a striker, like I said on Twitter ages ago, and then he started scoring a bunch of goals for Man United this season. Now here is a side that will surprise people who didn't pay attention to their qualification campaign. Hungary topped their group ahead of both Serbia and Montenegro, separately, of course. This isn't the early 2000s. But Hungary cruised through 5 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses, and just 7 goals conceded in 8 matches. This is 3 Euros on the trot for Hungary now. They're making a habit of this as the once mighty Magyars, the once mighty football nation, is trying to get back onto his feet. Hey, they're now in the top 30 teams according to FIFA World Rankings. And have the world rankings ever been wrong? I don't think so. But seriously, in their UEFA Nations League recently, they were in the same group as England, Germany, and Italy, and they finished second in their group, losing to Italy on both occasions, but getting away with victories over England and Germany. They are a team not to be trifled with. Soboslai and Schaffer are my personal favorites to watch in the midfield, while their back line is nice as well. Lang, Orban, Gulashi in goal. Do not sleep on these guys, and do not be surprised if Hungary make it out of their group for just the second time since 1972. Isn't that wild? Switzerland are always a difficult side, aren't they? Packed with talented players. They are back with Murat Yakin as the manager, the same guy who guided them to the round of 16 of the 2022 World Cup, where they got absolutely smashed by Portugal 6-1. But that wasn't really representative of how good Switzerland are, or at least were, because that was a weird match, man. Switzerland qualified behind Romania this go around, and it was a little touch and go at times as they started incredibly well, winning 4 and drawing 2 of their opening 6 matches. But then they had 3 consecutive draws and a loss to close things out. Winless in 4, not a great way to qualify, but qualify they did, and they've since played friendlies against Denmark, a draw, and Republic of Ireland, a win, a 1-0 win. I honestly see their qualifying campaign as mostly just a dry patch for them, as they are still very talented, but I do think that they are slightly weaker now under Yakin than they were under Petkovic. That could be a personnel thing as well, as Switzerland are perhaps going through a transitional phase with their talent in the midfield and going forward, but where they will draw their strength will be at the back. Sommer is one of the best shot stoppers in the world at the moment. Kobel is a great option as well. And ahead of them, you have the likes of Akanji, Schär, Elvedi. I like Switzerland, but they've shown a soft underbelly in the last couple of years in comparison to the years prior. Could they be pipped by Hungary to second place? I'm not going to say until my prediction video, but I would be surprised if they were. This is the group of death, everyone. We have arrived. This is it right here. Look, no group is easy, but also no group is harder than Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. Spain are always a threat. Such a talented footballing nation, and a bit of a surprise to see them fall in the round of 16 against Morocco in the World Cup. But mind you, Morocco was taking names in that tournament, weren't they? They went on to take Portugal. They come into this tournament as one of the favorites, as they often do. And why wouldn't they be? I mean, just look at this side from back to front. The keepers are great. The defenders are fantastic. The midfield is great. And then the forwards, oh. Perhaps the strikers are the weakest position out of all of the positions on the pitch. Wingers, I love. Nico on one side, Lamine Yamal on the other. A big headache for any team if you're going up against that. As mentioned when speaking of Scotland, Spain finished top of their group in Euro qualifying, the loss in Scotland being the one time Luis de la Fuente's fellows dropped points. Otherwise, they were perfect. Fuentes fellas. That's their name now. I would be surprised if they don't get out of this group, honestly, as there are other teams I'd point to as chokers before them. The one problem could be a lack of goals from them, as highlighted when speaking about the underwhelming striker options. But Joselu isn't afraid of a big goal now and then, is he? The big man Joselu. Stoke's finest. Run from it, hide from it, but Croatia advancing through major tournaments is absolutely inevitable. Throw a 50-year-old Luka Modric out there in a few years' time, in 12 years or so, and he will still will them through somehow, because Croatia is a tournament team. I remember so clearly working on my World Cup 2018 preview video and speaking about some Zlatko Dalic dude, their newish manager at the time, and wondering how things would go for him. His record speaks for itself. 2018, they make the final. Euro 2020, not as good. Round of 16 and they were out. But 2022 World Cup, very nice. They got third. And hey, they've looked solid since that World Cup. They lost a couple of qualifiers against Wales and Turkey, but have won 4 straight across all competitions since then. I feel like Croatia, Wales, and Turkey are often playing against each other. Am I making that up? Those are teams I associate with each other a lot. Anyway, as you can see, the squad still needs to be pared down, but a lot of the familiar faces are in there, including Ivan Perisic, who spent most of this past season injured with an ACL tear, but he returned in April. He's just a leader you want in the squad and someone to look to now and then. But yeah, very strong in midfield, strong in the attack. Defense looks pretty good as well. Lovro Majer, don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but he's the random squad dude that I'm going to give a shout out to because he tends to play very well for Croatia down that right recently. Watch out for him. I think Croatia are getting out of this group. Can I say the same of Italy? Italy under Spalletti. I love Spalletti. He plays some of the most beautiful football we've seen in recent years. The way Napoli smashed all takers was just a beautiful thing. How they smashed them, stunning. But I worry that having Spalletti as the national team manager is just bad for everybody. It's bad for Spalletti because he doesn't get enough time to instill his tactics on his players, instill his style, and bad for everyone else because we don't get to see Spalletti ball in full flight. But I could be wrong, and perhaps with the extended time with these players during this June camp that they'll have, they will play some beautiful Spalletti ball for us, or at least something close to it. As the defending champions, heavy is the crown, and I haven't been overly impressed with Italy in the last couple of years. Failure to qualify for the World Cup, and then just scraping qualification, losing twice to England, level on points with Ukraine, but finishing ahead of them thanks to superior goal difference in matches played against each other. I certainly like Italy's squad, and guys in the attack like Chiesa and Scamacca, Johnny Scams, are coming into this tournament in great form. I like their midfield with Bere, but honestly, after that, it kind of falls flat for me. The fact that Nicolo Fagioli, or Nicky Beans, was called up despite being suspended all season tells you a lot about the dire choices in midfield. No shade on him, good player, but a guy who has been sitting out all season long, that isn't an established player already, optics are weird. No one else was able to step up. Bastoni I like, and Spalletti will want an interspine that can always help considering their defensive record. Look, Italy is one of those teams that can go either way. They'll either be great or they'll be a bit floppy. I'm undecided on them. I have some thinking to do on them, but I see them getting out of this group. They're either winning the Euros or not qualifying for the World Cup, you know? And the closer to this group of death is Albania. I tell you this, watch an Albania match and see who the cameramen are focusing on. It happens every time. Watch an Albania match and the producers will show you certain people in the crowd over and over. You'll see. Anyway, Albania were one of the fun stories in qualifying because they topped their group. This is just their second major tournament, their last being Euro 2016, and they topped their qualifying group ahead of Czechia. Well, equal on points, but ahead on head-to-head goals. You remember Silvinho, played for Arsenal at one point, and Barcelona, and Man City later on. He's been managing Albania since the beginning of 2023, and while his tenure started with a loss to Fernando Santos's Poland, shame on you, Silvinho. Just joking. They rallied and didn't lose a single match following that. Broja's in the attack. Inter midfielder Aslani is in the midfield. Then you have guys like Kumbula in defense, Jimsiti. I'll be 100% clear with you, Albania is not a team that I know that well, which makes me all the more interested in them. I remember they gave France a hard time at Euros 2016. France had to score twice in like the 90th minute to win, and I hope they provide some hard times for everyone in this group as well. Group C, thoughts? We've got Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, England. Thoughts? I mean, I think that this could be a tough one to call, besides first place, in my opinion. Slovenia and Denmark actually shared a qualifying group. I could do their previews together, but Slovenia were quite impressive as they quietly get better and better year upon year. 22 points out of a possible 30, 4 points ahead of Finland and Kazakhstan, and they scored more goals in their qualifying group than anyone else. When you have a keeper like Jan Oblak in goal, despite him being, in my opinion, a little rusty at times this past season, but when you have a world-class keeper like that, you're already starting on the right foot. Slovenia are another one of those teams that doesn't have a ton of household names for anyone who just watches the top 5 leagues, but there are a few heavy hitters in there, such as one of the most sought-after strikers in this summer winter, Benjamin Sesko. As well, and this warms my heart, but Atalanta legend Josip Ilicic has been included. Absolutely incredible player on his day, a true footballer, and Slovenia have a few of those. They recently beat Portugal 2-0 in a friendly. Roberto Martinez's one and only loss as Portugal manager, so Slovenia head coach Matjaž Kek is on something, as Slovenia have lost just once in their last 10 matches, and that was against Denmark. And okay, fine, I admit it. I've got a soft spot for Denmark, I really do. I don't know what it is, man. They're just so fun to watch most of the time, except for in the 2022 World Cup, but that was not good. But hey, they were good in qualifying, losing just once away to Kazakhstan. Man, the passport stamps that you collect in qualifying, eh? I wonder how many of those players ever thought that they'd be playing in Kazakhstan in their lives prior to them getting their first national team call-up. That's just wild, the places you go. Kasper Hjulmand still has Denmark playing great football, even though he phoned it in a bit with their final qualifier, losing 2-0 away to Northern Ireland. Denmark's qualification was already sealed, but Hjulmand likes to bounce between a 3-4-1-2 type formation and a 4-3-3, depending on who they're playing. While I want to believe that Denmark will have as good a Euro as they did in Euro 2020 when they made it to the semifinals, I just don't quite believe it this time. I feel as though they are depowered a bit compared to the last time. And while we know they can beat Slovenia already, the next two teams will be difficult for them. Serbia finished behind Hungary in qualifying, which goes to show how strong that Hungarian side is, eh? Serbia is also a stunning team, and their only losses in qualifying came at the hands of Hungary. Other than that, Dragan Stojkovic's mature side qualified at a canter. And I use the word mature on purpose as they are certainly that. Old sounds negative. I'll use mature. We're waiting for the younger players to come through with Serbia, as this great generation is talented, but in my opinion feels as though they need a bit of a refresher. There are some names coming through. There are for sure, but I don't know how many opportunities they'll get in this tournament. We'll see. Hopefully they do. Petrovic is a nice new addition. New in the sense that he stole the starting position at Chelsea and never looked back. So he's in great form in goal. You still have the classics like Milinkovic-Savic in goal as well, and his brother in the midfield. And they are spoiled for options in the attack. Vlahovic, Jovic, Mitrovic, then Tadic and Kostic still kicking around. Great team. The kind of team that could beat anyone, and it wouldn't really be a surprise. You know? They beat a big team and you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. My one worry is that the stardust has started to fade a little bit with Stojkovic. He was doing so well with Serbia for a while at the beginning of his tenure in 2021, and he's just begun accumulating more and more losses lately. In friendlies, yes, like their 4-0 loss to Russia, but still, I worry a bit. Hope they prove me wrong. By the way, man, I completely forgot about Russia. That's crazy. And finally, one of the contenders for this tournament, one of them at least, England. What a squad, and what a call made by Gareth Southgate to not call up Marcus Rashford or Jordan Henderson. But it makes sense. There are some more deserving players out there. Unfortunately, like I said in the intro, we don't know what the final squads will be yet, but there are some exciting names in here, such as Kobbie Mainoo, who's coming off of a great season with United, a bright spot for United. Grealish stands out like a sore thumb in my opinion, though. His season wasn't stupendous for City. But anyway, just looking at the squad, it's plain to see that England is rich with talent. The only question mark comes with Gareth Southgate as manager. For all the talent they have, they could be world beaters, and Southgate just falls short time and time again. I guess you can praise his record for consistently making at least the last 8 or so of each tournament he's managed, 4th in 2018, runners-up in 2020, and quarterfinals in 2022. However, unlike the last Euros, England won't get to play all but one of their matches at home in front of their home crowds, so we'll see how that affects their performances this time. But like I said, based on squad strength, they have one of the best sides in the Euros at the moment. Bellingham. Foden coming off of that season with Man City where he was the man. Kane, Rice, Stones, need I go on? Well, actually, the keeper position is probably the position that is pretty whatever in my opinion. Pickford is up and down. Ramsdale has his moments of losing focus. We'll see. Ultimately, they'll be fine in the group stage. They'll be fine. Will they win it? Will they go one step further and win the whole tournament? Or will the hosts, Germany, maybe someone from the previous video will win it? You let me know, and I'll let you know in my next video where I'm going to predict the entire tournament for you. So you don't even need to watch it. Sounds good? Good. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.